family are currently living in a war-stricken country and it is no longer safe for them. They've arranged with friends to leave the country by boat and start a new life in Australia. Unfortunately, when they arrive, they are not allowed to enter and are sent to live in detention centres for an uncertain amount of time. Sadly, this is the reality for thousands of people from all around the world.
So, what are refugees? Refugees are people who flee from their home country out of fear for their safety and well-being. Some causes that result in refugees fleeing from their countries include religious discrimination, natural disasters, and political unrest.
What are asylum seekers? Asylum seekers are people who flee from their home country out of fear for their safety and well-being but have not yet received refugee status. They will usually be sent to detention centres under inhumane and poor living conditions.
What about the history of refugees and asylum seekers in Australia? Australia's population and history relies on refugees migrating to Australia from thousands of years ago. Look around. All of us have migrant ancestors if we are not migrants ourselves. For decades, Australia has been protecting refugees under its refugee and humanitarian program.
In 1996, the Australian government has set a number for this program, which includes both onshore and offshore parts. Between 1947 to 1975, there were two types of refugees, those who were assisted by the Australian government and those who were not. Since the end of World War II, Australia has resettled more than 880,000 refugees and others in need.
The Refugee and Humanitarian Program is a key plank of Australia's comprehensive response to refugee displacement along with humanitarian assistance. Australia has allocated 18,750 places in 2018 to 2019 to the Refugee and Humanitarian Program.
So, what has been done to resolve this issue? Refugee programs such as Australia's Refugee and Humanitarian Program have been introduced in order to support and provide care for those who need it most. Not everyone who applies for refugee status is successful, and there is a law that a person must be registered with UNHCR prior to applying for an Australian refugee category visa. Sadly, Australia is the only country in the world with a policy of mandatory detention and offshore processing of asylum seekers who arrive without a valid visa.
Both refugees and citizens are affected by refugees as they need to adjust to a whole new country as well as new culture and languages. Citizens are affected in terms of needing to assist newcomers, and some of their jobs may be taken, in turn affecting existing citizens' employment rates.
What are some solutions that we recommend? We recommend local integration instead of detention centres. Asylum seekers deserve to receive a safe and welcoming arrival as they fled their country for safety. More research and raising awareness, more opportunities for refugees and asylum seekers to be a part of the workforce, and food drives and donations to help support the newcomers.